It's a quick one with Ed Parnell. We're going to talk about Mr. Alex Jones. You may have heard of him. Runs a small little site called Infowars. Remember that? Started off as a man with a cardboard box just shouting into a camera and has become something of a global phenomenon, really, but not particularly in a good way. A full name of Mr. Alexander Emmerich Jones. He does all sorts of things. Most of them end up in legal action against him. He comes out with some rubbish. Now, I used to follow him in about 2001, 2002, when Infowars was just a wee little channel and a little bald man speaking into microphone. Because it was quite entertaining, you know. You'd hear these lunatic things like fences are going to attack us or super intelligent vegetables are forging election papers. And he'd come out with these things, and gradually over the years, he's kind of like refined it. Now, I had an idea around about 2009. I was going to set up a website and just put out conspiracy theories, nutcase spirit, you know, real sort of like, you know, your hairline defines your chances of becoming Pope, that sort of stuff. And I mentioned it to somebody and said, well, you really got to be nuts to do that. And I said, well, look at me. And they said, no, you've got to be really nuts. But the other thing you do need is a lot of money. Because Infowars has a lot of backers behind it, and not necessarily that either. He sells all these pills, unctions, potions and creams through his Infowars thing, and none of which you seem to be able to pick up at a recognised pharmacy or are recognised by any sort of medical professional outside one that looks like he's been to a very, very good party where the bongs were left unattended for a little while. So, without further ado, let's have some of Alex Jones's greatest hits. Do join me.
David Wheeler, A, defamation/slander damages, past and future, $25 million.
Now, this is a recording of the verdict in the trial and the awards of damages to the families of the Sandy Hook victims, who Alex Jones was convinced were all actors.
B, emotional distress damages, past and future, $30 million.
I mean, that's $55 million, and we're not even past the first person yet.
Total fair, just, and reasonable damages to plaintiff David Wheeler and against Alex Jones and Free Speech Systems at line A and line B, $55 million, initialed by juror number 1.
Ouch! That's a lot of cream and unctions he's got to send out, and he's got to do free delivery as well, so that's going to cost him $55 million. How are you going to pay that then, Alex? How are you going to pay it? Take on some bar work or clean some windows in your spare time? It doesn't stop there, because it hasn't stopped him actually being quite an unpleasant piece of work. Let's hear some more of his magnificent back catalogue.
I killed him. First Amendment killed him. Get rid of the Second Amendment. Get rid of the First Amendment. They're bad. They killed the kids too. George Washington killed him. Jesus killed him. We should rename the whole planet Sandy Hook. Everything. It should be holidays. We should bow 5 times a day to New Haven, Connecticut for the kids that died. Every American's to blame. Every gun owner's to blame. I'm to blame. We're all guilty. To Bloomberg and Soros. Turn our guns in. Turn our guns in. I know. I did it. I killed them. I killed them. I killed them. I know. I killed them. So I'm done talking about it.
No, please, go on, said no one ever.
I invented cancer.
How?
I just did it. Doesn't matter.
I love the way the other guy just says, how? Instead of, why? Why would you do that? What's the matter with you?
I created death. People didn't die before I was born.
No wonder it became so popular.
I created heartburn.
Thank you very much.
I created hemorrhoids.
I think you will agree, a popular decision.
I created hangovers.
Wow, you're a real little one-stop all-you-can-catch venue, aren't you?
I created gingivitis.
Okay, and anything else, sir?
That's a bad one.
I created hair loss.
Yes, I have been meaning to say something about that.
I created acne.
I wish you could do that one.
I created bad breath.
Well, Mr. Jones, thanks for coming in for your job as pastry chef. We've got all the details that we need and we'll let you know. You see, the weird thing here is he's got it all wrong. Normally right-wingers will take gratitude and thanks for things that they haven't done and pretend that they have done them so they can get the glory and some sort of massaging of their ego. But he's asking people to thank him for things that are awful that have happened, because obviously then he can say, well, you're blaming me for everything, why not blame me for that as well? And to be honest, that's more the sort of talk that you hear more commonly in the refunds department of his unctions and creams.
Does this to humans as well. That's why genitals, I don't care if you're black or white, are a third the size they were of a 1960s male.
You can see that he's actually been studying the genitals of a 1960s male through the ages up until the present day.
So the media makes jokes about that a few months ago when I gave the example of You know, if your daddy's Johnson was a foot long, yours is 6 inches long. And if yours was 6 inches, your son will be 3 inches. And the one with them won't even have a penis.
Imagine for a moment that you don't know anything and you just surf into this site because it's been recommended to you by a search engine, and there's a bald, fat man talking to you about the size of his father's Johnson.
We make jokes about that all day long, but this isn't a game. And you can say, okay, well, who cares? Well, we're sterilized.
I think that's the most popular thing you've said all day. So what have we learnt so far in the 5 minutes and 25 seconds of Alex Jones? Well, we've learnt that he's taken the blame for every ailment that has possibly ever existed, and is extremely worried about the size of his grandfather's todger. What else?
I will eat my neighbors.
I'm sorry, run that past me again?
I will eat my neighbors. I'm not letting my kids die. I'm just going to be honest. My superpower is being honest. I've extrapolated this out, and I won't have to for a few years since I got food and stuff, but I'm literally looking at my neighbors now and going, I'm ready to hang them up and gut them and skin them and chop them up. And you know what? I'm ready. My daughters aren't starving to death. I'll eat my neighbors.
Now, I want you to imagine being Alex Jones's neighbours and hearing that going out across the internet. I would imagine you're not going to invite him around to any barbecues, christenings or weddings or celebrations of any kind for the foreseeable future until he reneges on his somewhat bohemian appetite.
See, my superpower is being honest. I'll eat your ass.
Okay, do you want fries with that?
I'll do it. My children aren't going hungry. I will eat your ass.
You haven't answered about the fries yet, so I'm assuming no. No? No. All right. It's the actual qualification that he's actually got enough food to last him for 2 years before he actually tucks into his neighbours that I find worrying. That his kids are going to turn around and go, well, shall we have the ice cream tonight or shall we have the apple pie? No, let's have Mr. Johnson.
The point is have you thought about that yet? Because I'm somebody that thought I could fix this, and I'm starting to think about having to eat my neighbors. You think I like sizing up my neighbor, how I'm going to haul him up by a chain and chop his ass up? I'll do it.
Can you imagine the conversation in the house?
Honey, the Dershowitzes are looking at me kind of weird, and I can't work out why.
Oh, it's 'cause I was going to eat them, that's why.
You're going to eat them?
Yeah, I just spread a little barbecue sauce over them, had a little nibble, and they seemed to take offense.
So what have we covered so far? The blame for all illnesses in the world, the size of men's Johnsons from 1960 to the present day, and, of course, cannibalism. What's next on the Jones Register of Interest? Oh, yes, interacting with his public.
That's why bipartisanly. Come on over here.
At this point, a member of the public has interrupted Alex Jones's wonderful diatribe with a comment of his own, a comment not to Alex's liking.
Come on over here. No, you flip me off. Come on, coward. No.
And thus a chase ensues.
You're not an intellectual. You're a fake and a fraud.
Now, unfortunately, this being audio only, we're unable to give the full impact of a chase. And, of course, you don't get the full glory of seeing Alex Jones chasing somebody down in the street. So I've added a sound effect of my own just to stimulate your imagination.
You're not an intellectual. You're a fake and a fraud. No. Flip me off. If you're not an intellectual, you're a dumbass. Hey, you, coward. Yeah. You know something? I'm not afraid of you people. You got something to say? Say it. You have nothing intellectual. Yeah, because you're an intellectual dumbass who watches mainstream media. Anyways.
The old "you're not an intellectual, so I'm going to hit you" routine. Reminds me of that meeting by George Bernard Shaw and Bertrand Russell.
I say, Bertram. Yes, George? You're not an intellectual.
What do you mean, George?
You're not an intellectual.
I think I'm an intellectual.
Well, you're not. You're an intellectual dumbass. I'm going to beat you up because you're an intellectual dumbass.
Really?
Yes. Another muffin?
Don't mind if I
Now,
do.
just imagine if he turned that incredibly imaginative, insightful mind onto an issue of political import.
I'm never a lesser of two evils person.
There's a butt coming. Tell me there's a butt coming. I like big butts and I cannot lie.
But
I knew it. Eat your heart out, Mystic Meg.
with Hillary, there's not even the same universe. I mean, she is an abject, psychopathic demon from hell that as soon as she gets into power is going to try to destroy the planet.
But aside from all that, she does have a dark side.
I'm sure of that. And people around her say she's so dark now and so evil and so possessed that they are having nightmares.
That must be a hell of a conversation. What are you doing with yourself nowadays? Well, I'm running an internet channel where I talk about things and also sell pills and unctions. What about yourself? Well, I'm having nightmares about Hillary Clinton. Really? Tell me more.
Folks, let me just tell you something. And if the media wants to go with this, that's fine.
Oh, it's fine if the media goes with it. They have your blessing. They have your permission. I'm sure they'll be biting your arm off.
There are dozens of videos and photos of Obama having flies land on him indoors at all times of year and he'll be next to 100 people and no one has flies on
Have
him.
you got any of these pictures at all, or any videos, anything like that? You know, some proof might be nice, or you just go sit there staring into the camera while the light from your bald head blinds your viewers?
Hillary reportedly, I mean, I was told people around her that they think she's demon-possessed, okay? I'm just going to go ahead and say it, okay?
That sounds like the worst HR complaint of all time.
They said they're scared.
They're so scared they're going to approach this large, balding fat bloke with an internet channel and spill all the beans, despite the fact that it's easily traceable back to them. Yeah, that sounds like a definition of scared to me.
That's why when I see her, when kids are by her, I actually get scared myself for the child. I mean, you that big rubber face and that...
Oh, come on, don't put yourself down.
I mean, this woman is dangerous, ladies and gentlemen. I'm telling you. She is a demon.
The thing about Jones and other right-wing conspiracy nutjobs is that all it requires is no proof and just belief in the host and what they say. If you stare down the camera and say something with conviction, somebody will buy it. You could say, Pop-Tarts are Satan's Frisbees, or wheels are imaginary. And if you say it with enough conviction, someone somewhere will buy it.
Resistance to tyrants is obedience
The
to
message
God.
to Hillary.
It's Alex Jones.
You can run on.
When I think about all the children Hillary Clinton has personally murdered and chopped up and raped, I have zero fear standing up against her. Yeah, you heard me right. Hillary Clinton has personally murdered children.
Go tell that long-tongued liar. Go and
I just can't hold back the truth anymore. Hillary Clinton is one of the most vicious serial killers the planet's ever seen.
All these conspiracy theories are well polished and the production gives it some cachet, but they're nothing more than amusing to people with a functioning brain. However, spreading rumours that Hillary Clinton can't be bothered going out on the voters' trail or meeting delegates or indeed promoting her campaign because she's so busy scoffing down children have consequences.
The North Carolina man who police say self-investigated a Washington, D.C. pizzeria armed with an assault rifle pleaded guilty today to weapons charges. Edgar Welch was allegedly inspired by false internet rumors dubbed Pizzagate. Back in December, he fired several shots inside the Comet Ping Pong restaurant after driving up from North Carolina. Fortunately, no one was hurt.
And facing legal action from spreading those said internet rumours, Jones then published on his website an apology, a publication which was somehow less promoted than the original content.
In our commentary about what had become known as Pizzagate, I made comments about Mr. Alefantis that in hindsight I regret and for which I apologize to him. We were participating in a discussion that was being written about by scores of media outlets in one of the most hotly contested and disputed political environments our country has ever seen. We relied on third-party accounts of alleged activities and conduct at the restaurant. We also relied on accounts of reporters who are no longer with us. This was an ever-evolving story, which had a huge amount of commentary about it across many, many media outlets. As I have said before, what became a heightened focus on Mr. Alefantis and Comet Ping Pong by many media outlets was not appropriate. To my knowledge today, neither Mr. Alefantis nor his restaurant, Comet Ping Pong, were involved in any human trafficking, as was part of the theories about Pizzagate that were being written about in the media outlets and which we commented upon. I want our viewers and listeners to know that we regret any negative impact our commentaries may have had on Mr. Alefantis, Comet Ping Pong, or its employees. We apologize.
Jones only ever backs down when faced with punitive legal repercussions, and even then his apologies are grudgingly low on the promotional list. As with most rolling news sites, the apology video quickly works its way down the listings, meaning less people see the corrected information than the newer material. Infowars itself is an impressive achievement. It started in 1999 as a mail-order site for conspiracy VHS cassettes, and at its peak it had 10 million unique visitors a day. That's more than some regulated news organisations. And with those figures and the revenue it's generated, Jones has been able to give the whole channel a professional look, which means to the casual observer it's more of a legitimate news outlet, despite the content. Jones, though, really has to face up to the consequences of his actions. But during the Sandy Hook defamation case, one of the parents turned to him in court and gave this heartfelt speech.
I wanted to tell you to your face, because I wanted you to know that I am a mother, first and foremost, and I know that you're a father. And my son existed. You're still on your show today, trying to say that I'm implying that I'm an actress, that I'm deep state. You have, this week. And I don't understand. Truth is so vital to our world. Truth is what we base our reality on. And we have to agree on that to have a civil society. Sandy Hook is a hard truth. Nobody would want to ever believe that 26 kids could be murdered. Nobody would ever want to believe that. I understand people not wanting to believe that, actually. I don't want to believe it. But I've, since that day, dedicated my life to keeping kids safe. It's our responsibility. I used to think it was the school's responsibility. It's actually our responsibility. And I've dedicated my life to that. And having a quarter of Americans doubt that Sandy Hook happened or doubt the facts around Sandy Hook is not conducive to keeping our kids safe. It's not. And it's our responsibility to keep our kids safe. This happened almost 10 years ago. We've had over 350 school shootings since then. We have to keep our kids safe. Jesse was real. I am a real mom.
And that's real actual damage to real people's lives. It goes some way beyond claiming to invent tooth decay or threatening to eat your neighbours.
What's fun is laughing right back at these psychopathic bastards and telling them that we know exactly who they are and exactly what they're doing.
He's dressed, by the way, as the Joker from Batman. Now, inflamed by his own victory over sanity, he takes to the streets and offers passers-by money if they will put up posters of Barack Obama made up to look like the Joker.
Look at them out there. They're pathetic. Just like the Joker himself is pathetic.
Crossing that fine line between entertainment and news and making a point is something Jones does very well. So much so that after the Sandy Hook school massacre, Jones went on a diatribe for several years, telling everyone how it was a government scheme and those appearing in newscasts and reports were all actors. He only stopped with those claims after the parents won a long legal battle with Jones and his Infowars company, at which Jones was fined over $1 billion for defamation, slander and harassment, amongst other charges. But this hasn't stopped most of his ardent followers, who continue to harass and stalk the bereaved parents in public by calling them names or accusing them of complicity in their own child's deaths, sometimes even questioning whether they had any children at all.
You're a hatchet man of the New World Order. Okay. You're a hatchet man.
In his own measured way, Jones appeared on the Piers Morgan show for an in-depth interview, and it quickly turned into a conversation about guns.
There have been bombings of Wall Street.
Let me ask you a second question.
Are we going to listen? Why can't the pilots have firearms? We trust them to fly the planes.
He's actually making a reasonable point, but he's muddying it all up with the usual right-wing tropes about immigration, New World Order, and I don't know, I wasn't paying attention.
Hitler took the guns. Stalin took the guns. Mao took the guns. Fidel Castro took the guns. Hugo Chavez took the guns. And I'm here to tell you, 1776 will commence again if you try to take our firearms.
Shouting is very much what Jones is good at. It's his thing. And the more he shouts things, the more he presumes people are going to listen. However, given the content of what he's actually saying, listening is probably the last thing he wants people to do. The lie that the government wants to take guns perpetuates because people like Jones want to be the person standing between the ordinary person with the firearm and the mythical tyrannical government looking to bear down upon them. But he paints himself up as some sort of hero for a cause which doesn't even exist.
A whole host of radioactive isotopes, aluminum dioxide, the list goes on and on.
Certainly, sir. Do you want them in a bag, or shall I just pack them as they are?
But the scientists, meteorologists, astrophysicists, and others that I've talked to have said what they're spraying and releasing would actually eat holes in the atmosphere and damage the soils of the planet.
I noticed they didn't use any technical language for you there, Alex. I bet you're relieved about that.
They're messing with the weather. They're buying armored vehicles and billions of rounds of ammo and have TV shows bad-mouthing the founding fathers.
Ah, the old chemtrails argument. Well, you'll be pleased to know there was research published in the Environmental Research Letters where 77 scientists were asked if they had ever uncovered possible evidence of a government chemtrail program in their research. And of the 77 scientists, 76 said no. That's more than half. Then they were shown photographs supposedly containing chemtrails. Upon inspection, none of the researchers saw any evidence of contrails in the photograph that were any different to normal contrails. And finally, they were presented with the analysis of samples from pond sediment, snow and air that the collectors claim were contaminated with traces of barium, aluminium, copper and strontium from the chemtrails. The researchers said that 80 to 89% of the samples could be explained by phenomena much more simple than chemtrails. Again, the science disproves Alex Jones. Or does it?
But the reason there's so many gay people now is because it's a chemical warfare operation. I have the government documents where they said they're going to encourage homosexuality with chemicals so that people don't have children.
Oh, great, you've got documentation. Can I see it? Can I see what? You've left it in your other trousers.
If you're a new listener, just type in Pentagon tested gay bomb on Iraq. They didn't consider using it. They've used it on our troops.
If there's anything going to get you on some sort of watch list, it's typing in gay bomb Iraq. But you'd think, wouldn't you, if they're spraying all these people and dropping gay bombs and turning people homosexual, it's going to have an effect on the environment as a whole. And Alex has a theory about that.
I don't like them putting chemicals in the water that turn the friggin' frogs gay.
And that's how the whole conspiracy world works. You start off with a simple search about chemtrails or eating your neighbours, and all of a sudden you're faced with gay amphibians.
Serious crap. I'm sick of being social engineered. It's not funny.
The point is, Jones differs from normal presenters, and you can expect reputable people to appear in a shirt, suit, maybe a tie, and they can impart their information and they give some degree of reliability. But Jones prefers the more casual T-shirt, and sometimes he'll take off his shirt, presumably to highlight his ire with whatever subject he's currently bellowing about. And to be honest, getting your news and information from a shirtless bald man shouting incoherently could be just as well achieved in a disused industrial area car park. Infowars capitalises on the not without foundation notion that its viewers won't bother to research what they're being told, and more importantly, they'll buy the pills, unctions and potions that Jones intersperses his tirades with. And he's making big money. In 2020, Jones made over $20 million from sales of testosterone booster juice, brain-enhancing medication and water, which he assured customers was water, despite the colour. And, despite the number of sales he's actually making, none of these items have been recommended by an independent doctor or medical authority for use. The point of all this is that the internet is a tremendous source of knowledge, but it's also a haven for people like Jones to hawk rumour, conjecture and social unrest without having to face the consequences. Until now. Because the Sandy Hook people have actually taken offence at the fact he's taking so long to pay them their damages, and they've suggested the liquidation of the Infowars brand, studio and company, something which Jones reacted quite badly to.
At the end of the day, we're going to beat these people. I'm not trying to be dramatic here, but it's been a hard fight. And these people hate our children. Take more calls. Go ahead, do the next person.
That last bit was completely unintelligible. But there is kind of a karma here. The damage that he's inflicted on other people's lives has finally come back to affect him, and it's something that's long overdue. But be aware, you haven't heard the last of Alex Jones. Oh no, oh no. He's got a burgeoning career in pop ahead of him.
Your leftist ass like corn on the cob. I'm ready. I will eat your ass. Your leftist ass like corn on the cob. I'm ready. I will eat you. I will eat your ass. My children aren't going hungry. I'll do it. I'll drink your blood. And I'm starting to think about having to.
Thank you so much for listening. My name's Ed Parnell. This has been a quick one with Ed Parnell. Join me every day for news, frolics and other bits and pieces which you manage to cram into a bag for your delightful ears.